afternoon, or good evening, whenever and wherever you're watching. This is the Awesemo NHL DFS Strategy Show, and I'm your host, Michael Clifford, aka Slim Cliffy. I get to join Josh today for the strategy show. He is here, our single entry assassin, Mr. Joshua Harris. Josh, how did you rest last night after having to do that show by yourself?
I haven't slept. I'm a little tired, a little white. No, like honestly, it was power went out late, and so like you do it solo. It's like, yeah, man, why can't I do it solo? This can't be too hard. I have a newfound appreciation for hosts. It is a difficult job. It is not as easy as it looks. It's so much easier with you hosting. I just kind of sit back and make a fool of myself instead of having to add like you're like how hard it could be to read two sentences on the air off a piece of paper. It is, as you saw, it was quite a scene.
I mean, yeah, once you do the ad reads like 100 times, you really do get used to them. But yeah, you did a great job yesterday on the show. Saw a lot of praise for you too, from a lot of people that watched the show. So good job by you. Yeah, let's hope we don't have anybody crashing into power polls during the show, like it happened 30 minutes before the show yesterday to me. That was a great time. But enough about that show. Let's talk about last night, because we had some subscribers do very well last night. Sirius messaged me, and he messaged the Discord channel as well. He took down first and second in the FanDuel crossbar last night. Great job by him. And he also took down first and third in the $12 two max. Went nearly 10x last night. So a great night by him. And Chris Nagus and the Daz, Zig 30, finished second and third in the 121 single entry over on DraftKings last night. So pretty good nights to be had by some of our subscribers. I certainly did not do well last night. I had Toronto. Toronto did nothing. It kind of makes me mad too, because I was on Vancouver too, and Bo Horvat and Brock Besser both had really good games. So, you know, if I put them with Chicago, like I had in my Power Plays article, I probably end up having a pretty good night, because I'm pretty sure Chicago won and Vancouver 2 took down quite a bit last night. I didn't cash in a single entry. How'd you do, Josh?
Yeah, I used Colorado 1 with Chicago 1. Got a little creative. I left off Strome, put in Zegras, even though I said, you know, using him was a fish move. So I guess I'm the fish. I bubbled out, or I never really bubbled in, but like I bubbled. I don't know. Colorado, Pittsburgh won, Toronto won. They all kind of fell flat last night. It was kind of one of those 4-game slates where there's a lot of big guns, but they weren't being fired. So
yeah, and if you went against the big guns, you probably had a pretty good night last night. So congrats to all the winners. But we do have a 10-game slate ahead of us today. Before we get to it, if you guys could, in the chat, please throw us a thumbs up, click that like button. The likes help us look good for our bosses. The subscriptions help even more. So if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? This is a wonderful channel to get lots of information, whether it's NHL, NBA, MMA, NASCAR, golf, MLB is right around the corner. So lots going on here. Make sure you click the subscribe button and click the notification button as well. So you get alerts whenever those shows do go live. We also have free premium tools and data up on the site to help non-subscribers. So even if you're not a subscriber here at Awesemo.com, we have some stuff up on the site to help, whether you're playing NBA or NHL tonight. We have our NBA main slate ownership projections, and we also have our NHL top stacks. Our top stacks tool here goes team by team, line by line, gives us their opportunity to be an optimal stack tonight, their ownership, the leverage, and their cost across all sites and all that. So it's a very useful tool. So if you hear us talk about top stack percentage, top 2 percentage, leverage, anything like that, it comes from our NHL top stacks, and everybody can go check it out now at Awesemo.com. Sticking with NHL, Jeff Votz has his Power Plays article up on the site at Awesemo.com, free for everyone to read. Jeff Votz is the fourth man here at Awesemo, besides myself, Josh, and our boss, Jake Harry. Votz fills in and does a really good job on the Power Plays article, so make sure you check out that article if you're playing some NHL tonight. And if you want to win a free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum, we're giving it away through our Awesemo podcast channel. So click the link below this video, head on over to our Awesemo podcast channel, leave a 5-star review with your Twitter handle or your Awesemo username, and you'll be entered to win a free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. All right, Josh, let's get to these games. There's a lot of doozies here tonight, but the first one looks like a fairly even matchup, at least on the face. Boston, 2.8 implied goal total. They're at home to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is visiting also with a 2.8 implied goal total. Patrice Bergeron has been practicing, was at morning skate, but is not playing tonight. He's been fighting some sort of arm infection or elbow infection or something like that, or the possibility of an infection. They're just being really careful, which, I mean, it makes sense. Boston is pretty much locked into the playoffs. It's just a matter of seeding. So they definitely don't want to risk anything in regards to his health with playoffs, about 5 weeks away now. So Patrice Bergeron out. Jack Studnicka is in. He'll probably be on the top line with Jake DeBrusk and Brad Marchand. Now, Tampa Bay has switched up their lines a little bit. They broke up Stamkos and Kucherov. They had those two guys together for a while. They went back to Palat, Point, Kucherov, which has been a line that this team has used a lot this season. A second line of Alex Killorn, Steven Stamkos, and Brandon Hagel, newly acquired Brandon Hagel, we should say. And then a third line of Nick Paul, Anthony Cirelli, Ross Colton. I don't know what you think of this matchup, but Boston adds Hampus Lindholm, who is an excellent defensive defender, very good on the penalty kill, but they're losing Patrice Bergeron. Boston's still a pretty good defensive team, even without Bergeron, but it is a big hole at the top of the lineup. What do you think here, Josh?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to go like how big of an addition. I mean, listen, Boston has issues with their centers scoring. They're already a good defensive team. But as I talked about yesterday from your little stats you dropped into the Discord about the Ducks with Hampus on and off the ice, like he's only going to help their penalty kill. He's going to help them defensively. Like Hampus Lindholm replacing Mike Riley on the top pair. Riley goes from top pair to scratched. So like he's going to help them defensively. They're going to be a tough defensive team in the playoffs. The thing is with like Studnicka there, that's a pretty big drop off from Bergeron defensively going into the Point Kucherov Palat matchup. And there's, not much ownership on Tampa right now. And because of the way Tampa's been doing their lines, Palat and Point are at a massive discount compared to what they normally are. So I think, going to Tampa 1 here is pretty spicy. You get Point and Kucherov on the top power play. Not that it's a huge deal. Like this is a pretty rough special teams matchup. It helps that Bergeron's out, but Hampus is going to really improve their penalty kill. They're already good on the penalty kill. Swayman's a good goalie. I see people on our Discord anointing him the king of the NHL. He's a rookie. Let's pump the brakes. But he is a good goalie. But I think, if you're going to keep the ownership pretty low in Tampa here, I think Tampa 1's in play for me. Tampa 2 is all right. Like, I don't know. I'm just not a huge fan of Stamkos at center without Kucherov on his wing. Korn and Hagel are nice. I just, it's not a great special teams matchup, so I'll probably pass. And you look at that third line, Colton, Cirelli, Paul. They put that line together for when they're at home. They're going to hard match the top comp. Like that is for sure why they did that. And that's going to be a pretty good defensive line. So Tampa 1 for me. Like on the Boston side, I don't know. Like I guess you could power play stack. But, you're going across 3 even strength lines here. So maybe I'd do like a Marchand, Hall, Pasternak, like a Hall, Pasternak, Charlie McAvoy. Like the Lightning is a good team. They've had issues on the penalty kill recently. So I think if you're going to do anything here, you're going to power play stack the Bruins. Like if you want to stack Boston 1, I'll just warn you that Studnicka, despite being there, is going to play like 12, 13 minutes. He's just a fill-in. Like Marchand plays with other people. So it's kind of like how Patty Kane plays with everyone on the Blackhawks. Like Studnicka is just there because he had to practice with 2 other players. So for me, it's a Boston power play stack in Tampa 1.
Yeah. I think I'll just start with Boston. Like, I think they're a very good defensive team, and that's going to be a big boost for them once the playoffs roll around. But being a very good defensive team doesn't matter for I mean, it does matter for DFS, but not for scoring. You know what I mean? And I was looking at the power play numbers once Bergeron was ruled out. Like, we talk about how Marchand hasn't been the same without Bergeron on his line, and he hasn't. Yeah, I think he scored the other night, but like the line's numbers aren't very good. And it's the same thing on the power play. Their expected goals go down by about 33%, and their goals scored go down by nearly halved when Brad Marchand is on the power play without Patrice Bergeron. Like, these guys have played together for years and years. Like, there's a certain amount of chemistry you can't replicate by just throwing Jack Studnicka or whatever, Charlie Coyle on the power play. Like, you just can't do it. So, like, I'm not going to argue against using Boston, particularly Boston too, because I think David Pastrnak is probably going to play a fair amount of minutes here tonight. So, like, if you want to do like a Marchand, Pastrnak, Hall power play stack or something like that, I think that's fine. But I'm probably off Boston forwards here tonight. It's the Tampa Bay side that I have more interest in. That Platt Point Kucherov line has typically been very good this year. Their numbers had slid of late. That's kind of why they were broken up. But they were still generating a lot of scoring chances. It's just that they were putting up poor defensive numbers. And I think that's why Tampa broke them up, but they're back together. They were generating 35 scoring chances per 60 minutes at 5-on-5, which is just huge. So I think Tampa 1 would be the line I use here. But as we said, Boston's penalty kill is probably going to be a fair bit better here with Hampus Lindholm. So I don't know. I don't know if this is a game where I'm stacking. I know that the prices are good. And that's a big check mark in favor of Tampa 1 here, right? Is that you can stack that top line for what, like 16K or something like that, which is, we've seen them at like 20,000 on DraftKings. So it is a nice savings, but Swayman's in net. I think he's a better goalie than Allmark. Lindholm's there. I don't know. I'm not going to X out Tampa 1 from my pool, but I'm not going to target them. Let's just put it that way. On the blue line, on the Tampa side, Sergachev's price has come down about $1,000 on DraftKings. Eric Chernak is min price. Those are kind of the two guys that I'm looking at on that side. On the Boston side, I mean, Hampus Lindholm 4,100 seems fine. I don't know, like, he needs more than a block bonus to really pay off on DraftKings. So I don't know if I'd go above like a Carlo or a four-board or something like that tonight. What do you think?
Yeah, Hampus Lindholm with 4,100 on the Ducks with power play time would be fine. 4,100 on the Bruins without power play time in his debut. I don't know. I need to see how they deploy him before I spend 4,100 on Hampus Lindholm. Brandon Carlo will probably be the guy, and I agree with you on Sergachev, or if you need to spend down Chernak.
Yeah, Carlo probably would be the guy on the Boston side for me. All right, let's get to this next game. The Florida Panthers going into Montreal to face the Canadiens. Florida has a 4.0 implied goal total. The Habs are at 2.5. Jonathan Drouin will not be in the lineup tonight. He's been yanked for, I think it was COVID issues. On the Florida side, obviously, Claude Giroux in the lineup on the top line with Alexander Barkov and Carter Verhaeghe for the Panthers. You and I have talked about how the Montreal penalty kill just hasn't really improved under Martin St. Louis, and they're actually last by expected goals against over their last 15 games while shorthanded. So they are definitely having penalty kill issues. Florida's power play has typically been great. The issue here is with Aaron Ekblad injured, they've shown two different power play looks in practice over the last few days. The first one was a five forward top power play unit: Barkov, Giroux, Huberdeau, Duclair, and Sam Reinhart. The other look that they gave us was Mackenzie Weegar as the power play one defenseman, with Anthony Duclair being taken off. Now, that changes things a little bit because if Duclair's there, it's a little bit more power play one correlation on that second line. If Weegar is there, it gives him like a lot of additional fantasy value that he wouldn't have otherwise. We just won't know what will happen until they get their first power play. That's just the way it is. So how are you looking at this game, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice to know if Duclair is on the top power play unit, because I do like Florida too here. Just because like the Caulfield, Suzuki, Anderson line, since Marty St. Louis has been the coach, has been pretty decent defensively, like league average, which is good for the Habs.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. And we also have to see this as Claude Giroux's debut playing on Barkov and Barkov and Verhaeghe had really good numbers with Maxime Mammon. I can't imagine they're going to have bad numbers with Claude Giroux. Claude Giroux is much better suited on the wing at this stage in his career. So yeah, I do like 4-1 here. Like 4-1, very usable here. I wish Anton Lundell was healthy because that third line is going to get an excellent matchup. Like Ren Pitlick, Hoffman, Lawrence Dolphin. They've been together. They're giving up 4 expected goals against for 60 and like almost 20 high danger chances. So like, yeah, I think Sam Reinhart is a very nice one-off tonight. If you're not looking to power play stack or something, you just want to do like Marchment, Reinhart, something like that, you can do that. 4-2 is also fine. Less fine if it is Uyghur on the power play. I think if Uyghur is on the power play, I'll go to 4-1 or Florida power play stack. I think you can leave off Verhaeghe and add in, Reinhart, or just, 4-1 and add in Uyghur. I think Uyghur is a fine play anyway.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think you just correlate him anyway, and eventually he's probably going to see power play time. Like, it's going to happen whether it's on the first unit or not. Like, if they go 5 forwards and they have a bad power play, you're going to see Uyghur there almost immediately. So I'm in on 4-1, Florida power play. I think, 4-3 is in a pretty good spot. Like, I guess you could go E2, D2, Luosterainen with Sam Reinhart for some savings if you're looking to, get in an expensive, power play stack. On the Canadian side, it's probably just going to be that top line. They're fully correlated. Florida's a pretty high event team. The thing is, like, Barkov or Hagee have excellent defensive numbers. I don't know how Claude Giroux is going to disrupt that. I don't think it will disrupt it that much. So from a 5-on-5 standpoint, like, this isn't the best matchup, but it's the only Habs line that seems like they can score consistently. If you want to drop down to that third line, like Dvorak, Armia, I think is fine. As a, cheap 2-man, if you're looking to power play stack an MMA or something like that. Like, I just don't have too much interest in that Pitlick Hoffman line because Hoffman's on the top power play unit. Like, if he was on the top power play unit 2,900, I'd be interested. But so Montreal one for me, probably an MME only. Same with some mini. We'll have to wait and see who takes that third line spot from Duran, and then 4-1 Florida power play.
Yeah, I would say, I think Hoffman has a chance of getting back to the power play because Duran's out. Yeah, but that's one thing that hasn't been fixed under Martin St. Louis. Yeah. They have a really bad power play, like near the bottom of the league. So like, it's not even a situation where I think it matters that much. It would be a small boost to Hoffman, and he already projects like pretty well for his price. So yeah, no problems there. I was kind of surprised to see Montreal's ownership. People have been riding this line pretty hard, basically for like a month now. And I'm looking at their ownership in our top stacks, and they're coming in at 2%, and they're only 13.3 over on DraftKings. Like, not expensive at all. They're filler status, and they're going to play 20 minutes here tonight. So, like, I think they're perfect. I think Montreal one's perfectly fine as a filler here tonight. Like, Spencer Knight starting again. I don't know what's going on with Bobrovsky, but Spencer Knight starting again, and he just hasn't looked good all season. Like, he's had good games, don't get me wrong, but he hasn't been consistently good all year. So I think Montreal one is perfectly fine as a filler. That's probably where I would stop. Like, I'm not running out to play Lawrence Dolphin or Christian Dvorak or anything. So it's probably just Montreal one on that side. On the Florida side, it's power play stacking, I think, is the way I would go here. And I know we said we don't really know how the power play is going to line up, but you're going to get Giroux, you're going to get Reinhart, you're going to get Huberdeau, and you're going to get Barkov, on the power play. You're going to have those 4 forwards. It's just whether it's Duclair or Uyghur. You can take those 4 forwards and stack them however you want. Barkov, I don't like, because Giroux's price was so cheap in Philly, you can stack Alexander Barkov, Jonathan Huberdeau, and Claude Giroux tonight in a 4 total for under 20K on DraftKings. That's probably what I'm going to be doing on the Florida side, is power play stacking here. So if you want to stack an even strength line, I'm not going to say no. They're in really good spots. They're both good lines, but it's Florida power play for me. So Montreal 1, Florida power play. Should also mention Montreal's been taking a lot of penalties. not only is their penalty kill not very good, but they're amongst the 5 most penalized teams over the last 5 weeks. So could be a long night in net for Jake Allen. On the blue line, old Benny Sherratt, he was traded to Florida. I think he's going to be playing on the top pair as long as Aaron Ekblad's injured. And that's going to mean 22 or 23 minutes a night. I think I would rather just pay up the extra dough for Mackenzie Weegar, though. So Weegar, if you want to drop all the way down to Gustav Forsling, I think that's fine on the Florida side. On the Montreal side, like Romanoff might Alex Romanoff is one of my punts du jour today because I think he sees a lot of block shots opportunities. So I don't mind Romanoff either. What do you think?
Yeah, Sherratt's fine. There's a lot of houses on Narrative Street tonight. There's some big ones later, but this is a nice little townhome on Narrative Street with Sherratt. I think he's fine, but I think Weegar is the best play from this game, and I agree with you. Romanoff or even Savard if you need that extra 200 for some block shots.
Yep. David Savard's going to be throwing himself in front of a bunch of pucks.
That's all he does. Like, he just lays in traffic. He's Mark Stahl right now.
Ooh, that's tough. All right, let's get to our next game. Dallas has a 2.5 implied goal total. They're going into Carolina. The Hurricanes have a 3.4 implied goal total. Small change to the Dallas lineup. Vladislav Nemesnikov sliding in Jacob Peterson's line. In Jacob Peterson's spot, on the second line with Tyler Seguin. And Dennis Gurianov, looks like the Carolina Hurricanes are just running it back, same top 9, but Max Domi is going to slide in on that fourth line with Jesperi Kotkaniemi and Derek Stepan.
A good fourth line.
It's not a bad fourth line. Dallas has had their problems since Miro Heiskanen had got injured. Well, not injured, he has mono, but you know what I mean. But those problems have largely come on the defensive end. Offensively, they've still been fine for the most part. But this is a pretty tough matchup going into Carolina. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah. And that Stahl, Foss, Niederreiter line has been really, really good for the past few weeks. They're going to be seeing a lot of Dallas 1. So I think Dallas 1 is a nice contrarian option if you're making 20 to 150. I don't think I can prioritize them in 1 to 3 tonight. There is a lot better spots. I'm not sure what Nemestikov is going to do on that second line. He's like an average at everything type player. So like maybe a little bit better than Jacob here. Like, I don't know. I do really like Dennis Gurianov, but this is just not the time or the place for Dallas tonight. I don't think. Like, I just don't think I could prioritize anything on Dallas. It's going to be the Carolina side that I'm more interested in. And there's pretty good ownership on Carolina tonight. I was a bit surprised because Carolina, well, maybe it's because they burned, like Aho, Teravainen, and Svechnikov, they burned a lot of people and they were super expensive. Now the prices have come down. They're getting no ownership. That top line's fine. You get Teravainen and Aho on the top power play with Jarvis there at min price. We talk about it, like Jarvis being there is not going to kill you. He can get an assist and a couple shots on goal and he's going to, I would not be shocked. You want to go to that second line? I think that second line is really good as well. Svechnikov, Trocheck, Netchis. Netchis is super cheap as well. You can power play stack if you want. It's up to you. I think I prefer the second line just a little bit more, but you want to go to that top line? I won't tell you now. That third line, going into Dallas 1, that's probably going to be a pass for me. So top 6 of the Canes, maybe some Dallas 1 and MME, but really not much from Dallas side.
Yeah, the problem with Dallas for me is their power play has kind of fallen off over the last month, and Carolina's penalty kill is just outstanding. And Dallas is a team that really needs the power play to come alive. And like you said, they're going to go into that Jordan Stahl matchup. Jordan Stahl's line allowing 19 scoring chances against per 60 minutes. They're just not allowing anything. So I'm probably out on Dallas 1, even though I'm 20 maxing here tonight. But yeah, they do have really good leverage by our top stacks tool. One of the top leverage teams, positive leverage teams on the slate. So if people want to play him for ownership purposes, absolutely no. We've seen Carolina get blown up a few times this year, once famously against Columbus of all teams. So it can happen. I agree with you. I'd just rather play a Florida power play stack for roughly the same price. Oh, yeah. Like we just talked about. So that's where I am on Dallas. On the Carolina side, I really do like that top line here tonight. I'm mad I missed the Seth Jarvis 2-goal game when he returned. But I think
he's on the fourth line though.
Yeah. But I think he's a good addition to that top line. he is a goal scorer, a little bit different from Svechnikov. Like Svechnikov's a goal scorer too, but he really likes to, grit it up and grind it up and hit and get penalties and all that. Like Seth Jarvis just really isn't that type of player. And Carolina's this iteration of the top line in about 100 minutes together, 37 scoring chances generated per 60 minutes. That's a lot. They've been really, really good. They're going to get the second and third lines from Dallas. They have no ownership. So yeah, I do like Carolina 1. If you want to drop down to Carolina 2, I don't have an issue with that. They've been generating a lot. They've just been a little bit worse defensively. So, maybe they can't get the run of the play. I'd just rather kind of, for roughly the same ownership, I would probably just go to Carolina 1. So Carolina 1 is the only line I really like out of this game. On the blue line, is it Yanni Hakanpää revenge night? I don't know, but he is min price. Projects reasonably well against a team that should take a lot of shots. Like he is a threat for the block bonus. Don't mind Esa Lindell either. Brett Pesce, once he's in that 3K range, I don't mind playing him. So 3,800 Brett Pesce for Carolina is fine as well. What do you think?
Yeah, on Narrative Street, Hakanpää is a nice 2-bedroom apartment. Like, I think he's fine in price as long as he's in the top 2. He'll see 20 minutes. Yeah, like Pesce at 3,800, if you're in that range for your final spot, is fine. Tony DeAngelo is a nice price, so I think he's fine as well.
Just got some news about this Dallas game. Actually, they're saying Scott Wedgwood is going to start and not Jake Ottinger. That makes things a little bit spicier there. Like, I don't think Wedgwood is a terrible goalie or anything, but I think Ottinger has been one of the better goalies in the league this year, certainly of late anyway. So I don't know, maybe that makes me like Carolina a little bit more here tonight. Opening day right around the corner, and now is the time to lock in your Awesemo Plus MLB annual pass. I'm so excited that baseball is back. Save 25% when you use the promo code TROUT at checkout to get player projections, ownership projections, our top stacks, our top pitchers tool, and a whole lot more for the entire MLB season right through the playoffs. That's TROUT, all capital letters. It will get you 15% off until April 1st if you use that code. So use it before then to get as many savings as possible. Or it will drop to 15%. Sorry, it starts at 25%. That's my mistake. Just click the link in the video description below to activate this offer. Like I said, I'm just stoked for baseball to be back. Might be because the Blue Jays actually look like they could be pretty good this year. I've said that last year too, and then look what happened. But,
no, they're a good team.
That is neither here nor there. Detroit 2.2 applied goal total. They're going into New York to face the Islanders. The Islanders have a 3.4 implied goal total. Oh boy. So Jakub Vrana, we have him listed on the top line right now. Detroit looks like they're going to be missing some bodies here, and that's a little bit of a problem for them because they're already thin to begin with. If Tyler Bertuzzi isn't on that top line, it makes me kind of worried that because Philip Zadina is out tonight. So it makes me a little bit worried what that top line could look like. Are they going to throw Sam Gagner up there? Are they going to reunite them with Tyler Bertuzzi? Are they just going to move up Jakub Vrana? I don't know. It's not a very good matchup anyway, so I don't know how much interest I have in the Wings. I do have a fair bit of interest in the Islanders, though, and they're not coming in with much ownership for a team that has a 3.4 implied goal total. I think it might be because you can realistically play 3 lines here, I think. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, it really depends what you want to do. What else is new? The Wings got flex to 7:30. It's like, can we get another team in the 7:30 slot? We don't have to watch paint dry between the Islanders and the Wings during the 7 p.m. intermissions. But like, it depends what you want to do, because pricing's not an issue tonight. There's not a stack over 20,000 on DraftKings tonight. So if you're looking to spend up, it's going to be Lee, Nelson, Beauvillier. They've been an excellent line. They've been creating a ton. If you're looking for, a filler type deal, you can play Barzal, Wahlstrom, Parisi. They're under 10K on DraftKings tonight. If you're looking to like power play stack the Panthers, and not really worry about it. You could go Parisi, Barzell, Wallstrom, something like that. You probably can fit them in because pricing is pretty soft tonight. So I think I would go to the top line for less ownership here. I just think they're a better line right now. It really just depends what you want to do. That third line is fine. Like if you want to go JG Padrell, Palmieri, not a huge Bailey guy. I know you are his number one fan, but I probably go Isles 1, a little bit of Isles 2 for some filler stuff. On the wings, like we just don't know. It could be Vrana up there. Could be Taro Heroes. Like we just don't know. Chase Pearson, why not? Like just throw him into the fire. Not a great matchup for them anyway. Like, yeah, they're fully correlated, but the Islanders just don't take penalties. They have good penalty kill. So out on the wings.
Yeah, I'm not super excited to play any Detroit. Like, I don't know if we get some sort of confirmation that it's Larkin, Raymond, Bertuzzi, that would be something that I might consider. Like, I would even maybe consider Vrana there instead of Bertuzzi. But the problem is they don't have a lot of like playmakers on that roster. That's kind of an issue, is that everybody's like either good defensively or just like a shooter. Like it's basically Dylan Larkin and Tyler Bertuzzi, and that's it. So if they play on separate lines, I could see them really struggling. Like the Islanders have been a lot better in the second half here. So yeah, I'm not in on Detroit here. The Islanders top line has been really, really good. They've been generating a lot of offense of late, 39 scoring chances in their last 100 plus minutes together, 39 scoring chances per 60 minutes. They're generating a lot at 5-on-5. And as you alluded to, that Bailey Pajot Palmieri line hasn't been very good, but they're going to be taking the shutdown duties, against Larkin. So you're going to get that Islanders top line against the second and third lines from Detroit here. There's just not a lot of depth once you factor in, guys they've traded away, all the injuries they have and all that. And they're just not a playoff team to begin with. Like, I think this is a pretty good spot for the Islanders top line here tonight. So I really do like the Islanders top line. Detroit has they don't take a lot of penalties, but they have a pretty bad penalty kill. And you get 2 of the 3 guys on that Islanders top line on that top PP unit. So I do like Islanders 1. Parise, Barzal, Wallstrom is an interesting line. Not a big sample from them, but kind of like the top line, they've been generating a lot of offense. They as well will be getting depth matchups from the wings here, and they're not expensive at all. Wallstrom and Parise have been priced. You can stack the line for under 10K. Like if you are going something super expensive tonight, like an Edmonton power play stack or a full Florida power play stack, whatever. I think that's a fine filler, but it is the Islanders top line that I like more. So Islanders 2, like the Barzal line, maybe if you need a super cheap filler, but I do like the Islanders top line here tonight. Depth matchups, been generating a lot of offense, not much ownership. We have them coming in at 3 or 4%. Perfectly acceptable to me. On the blue line, Jordan Osterley, my buddy. He's a guy that it's one of those players I'm just like, when's he going to break out? When's he going to break, like not be like a 50-point defenseman, but when's he going to be a top 4 regular defenseman, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know. He's been playing 20 minutes of regularly for Detroit. I don't really have a problem playing him if you need a min price punt here tonight. Otherwise, are we going back to Noah Dobson here? Like with Scott Mayfield out, maybe they give some more ice time to the top of that Islanders defense court, because they really don't give their top defenseman a ton of minutes. What do you think?
Yeah, I played Jordan Osterley a lot when he was on the Yotes. When the Yotes had a competent roster, I liked using Osterley for cheap. I think he's fine on the top pair. He'll, get in the 20s in minutes and fall into some pucks. I think Dobson's fine. Like I said, Yossi in the 9Ks, right? Which is insane. Dobson, if you take away the name and the team and you look at his game logs, you would think he's priced appropriately. So Dobson's fine. I think with Mayfield out, if you need a punt, I think Sebastian Aho, the Islanders Aho, is fine for min price punt. Pulak, I wish was a little bit cheaper. He's fine, like in the mid range, like a Trouba-esque player. So I think he's fine as well.
Yep. No problem there. Let's get to our next game. This one, oh my God. This one is every night on a big slate. There's one game that we call a festival, and I think this is This is the festival of the night here tonight. There is so much to talk about in this game. Okay, Torrey Krug is out for St. Louis. That probably means Nick Leddy running the top power play unit. Robert Thomas and Vladimir Tarasenko are both back for St. Louis, but neither of them are going to the top six. They're going to the third line with Ivan Barbashev. Philly also had a top line at morning skate today of James Van Riemsdyk, Joel Farabee, and Cam Atkinson. And if you're wondering why I'm laughing at that, it's because it's three wingers. None of them are a center. Lindblom was skating with Kevin Hayes and Travis Konechny, and then they said Lindblom's not playing tonight. So we don't know what that line's going to look like. So their one center who's not having a good year in Kevin Hayes has a question mark beside him for a winger. And their second line has three wingers on it. And then, St. Louis is just bringing back two of their top scorers and throwing them on the third line. And then, we get Nick Leddy top power play. I don't know, man. I'm at a loss for words here. You take it away.
Whenever we talk about like festivals, I just think of Dumb and Dumber when Jim Carrey's like, "What's the soup du jour?" It's the soup of the day. That sounds good. This game just reminds me of that. Like, I don't understand. Like, I do understand what the Flyers are doing. They're like, maybe Joel Farabee can play center. Let's find out. Our season's over. You know what I mean? We'll give them some of our best wingers in, ancient Van Riemsdyk and Cam. I look like I'm 12 Atkinson. You know what I mean? Like, maybe they create. Not tonight. Are they going to be good defensively? No. And they're going to get a line in O'Reilly, Perron, Saad that has found the fountain of youth. Like, Perron has been a scoring machine since O'Reilly found his offensive game. Now, the problem is it's a 10-game slate, and they're coming in projected at 16%. That's the issue. It's like, what do you want to do here? But they're going up against the line with no center and Senor Fiesta, our boy, Martin Jones in that. So, like, what do you do? Like, I honestly think, like, because we don't have an ownership run with Thompson Tarasenko in, I'm hoping anyway that they eat some of this ownership and that you see the top two lines come down a little bit, because I am very interested in playing that top line for the Blues tonight. You want to go to the second line? I think, Kyrou Buchnevich, Shen is fine. Like, I talked about Braden Shen being meh last game, and he had like a 5-point game. So, like, at 4,800, I guess you can include him. But my favorite matchup is, the top line here. That third line, you know what? Like, we've talked about with the Blues, like, they give, when fully healthy, all three of these lines are going to see similar minutes. Maybe they ease back Thomas Tarasenko on that top line, sees a little bit extra. So I'm in on that top line. On the Flyer side, like, if you want to get a little spicy, like I don't even know. Like, Lindblom out. Like, we just don't know who's going to slot in. Could be Tippett. Could be Hayden Hodgson. Like, we just don't know. So, like, I'm probably out on stacking here. Maybe one-offing Van Riemsdyk at 2,700 on the top power play could be viable. We'll just have to wait and see.
I think if you're going to play those Flyers, it would be like a minutes reason, right? Like, I can't imagine the Flyers are going to run out and give, like Zach McEwen or whatever, like 17 minutes tonight. Like, I got to think that top six plays a fair amount. So, like, they're not expensive tonight. I'm just looking over on DraftKings. Farabee's 3,400. Like, 3,400 if he plays 18 or 19 minutes tonight, regardless of the matchup, I think it's fine. The question is whether you full stack the line or anything like that. Like, it just seems, like you said, it seems like Philly's really going to try some stuff out and see what they have in their players over the final 15 or 20 games or whatever. And that's not very good for DFS. And, there's a very good chance that Farabee line rolls right into the Ryan O'Reilly line, like you said. And that's just absolute death. That's where offense goes to die. So, if you want a one-off, like a Konechny or an Atkinson or something, or a Farabee or an Atkinson, sorry, I think that's fine, but I'm out on the Philly forwards. Sorry, Mike. On the St. Louis side, I don't know how much ownership that third line of Thomas Tarasenko and Barbashev is going to take. And the reason is that it's a double center line. They still have Ivan Barbashev listed as a center, at least over on DraftKings. So I don't know if people are going to run out to play a double center third line, even in a pretty good matchup like this. So I don't know if that ownership for the rest of the Blues lines changes all that much. Maybe the second line comes down a little bit, but it's the top line that plays a lot of minutes. Ryan O'Reilly's been playing 20 plus of late. David Perron, 19 plus of late. Even Brandon Saad's been playing over 17 minutes a game over his last 6 or 7 games. And like that guy never plays 17 minutes a game. He's at like 14, 15 usually. So they're getting a lot of minutes. 2 out of the 3 on the top power play unit. Like, I don't see how their ownership, and they're cheap. I don't see how the ownership comes down that much. They are in a great spot. I really do like St. Louis 1 here tonight. The problem with the Blues is that they have 3 lines that can score. So honestly, I think I'd rather take the chance of like a Thomas Tarasenko 2-man or something like that. Get away from the 15% owned lines. Hope Thomas and Tarasenko come in somewhere around 5 to 10% and go in that direction. So I guess it would be St. Louis 1 for sure. I like them. It's just ownership. That's the only problem. And it's one of those situations where the ownership is high enough where if they smash and you don't have them, you're probably toast. If 15 to 20% of the field have them and they smash and you don't, like you're probably done. So that's the issue with fading them here, is that the ownership is high enough that it can end your night. People are gonna have to make that decision for themselves. I'm not going to X out St. Louis. I think I do have some lower owned lines that I like elsewhere. So yeah, St. Louis 1, maybe some St. Louis 3 if you're feeling a little bit spicy. On the blue line, like, are we doing this Nick Leddy thing? 25, he's 2,500 on power play 1. He's going to play over 20 minutes. Like, he's pretty cheap. Like, you can full stack St. Louis 1 plus Leddy for like 17K. And then that lets you do basically anything you want with the rest of your lineup. I don't know, man. I know on the Philly side, I don't mind Travis Sanheim, 3,300 if you need to get in some blocks. That he's even a little bit of a long shot. That'd be it. What do you think?
Like, I think Leddy's playable. A broken clock is right twice a day still. Like, maybe he falls into one. Like, if he wasn't getting power play minutes, I'd say no. But like, being on the top power play here in this matchup, I guess he's fine at min price. I was a bit surprised that Justin Falk didn't take over the top power play unit, or they gave like Parayko some power play minutes, but I'm not an NHL coach, so I guess Leddy's fine, and I agree on Sanheim.
Yeah, I think Falk has, like, that second power play unit has been fairly good with them, like the Kyrou, Thomas, Buchnevich with Falk on the second unit. I don't think they want to break that up, so I guess it makes sense. I will note, like, the Philly penalty kill isn't awful. Like, it's gotten better over the last month or so, and they don't take a lot of penalties. So, like, you don't have to slam Nick Leddy in here tonight. Let's get that out of the way. I see a super chat from Chris Worstel, and it's a nice reminder that I forgot to mention him at the top of the show. He had a very good night last night as well. Thank you for your $10 super chat, Chris. That is very generous. Says, thanks, guys. Grown up work. We'll have to listen later. But Chicago 1s plus Jones, Vancouver 2, Fowler, and Anderson finished third in the 153 max, made over 2K last night. Good luck tonight. So, yeah, really nice job by Chris last night. Vancouver 2, man, we could have done it. We could have gotten there if only it had broken right elsewhere. Congrats, Chris. We have partnered with Yahoo Fantasy this NHL season to bring you some great offers. Check out our exclusive limited time offer, which gets you 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. To qualify, you need to be new to Yahoo, sign up for an account via the link below, deposit and play. That's it. Yahoo will send us your name after you played in your first paid contest, and we will reach out via email with your coupon. Make sure to use our DFS tools and projections designed specifically for Yahoo to give yourself the best shot at winning big. All right, Vancouver, 2.5 implied goal total going into Minnesota. The Wild have a 3.5 implied goal total. Vancouver played last night. They beat Colorado in Colorado. Yaroslav Halak had a pretty good game, but that means Thatcher Demko starts tonight for Vancouver. He's ostensibly their better goalie, has been pretty good this year for most of the year anyway. hate to do this, but it seems like every time Minnesota one's on the slate, they're one of the better leverage spots, and they're one of the better leverage spots again here tonight, at least over on DraftKings. I think part of it is an ownership thing. There's still a pretty good leverage spot over on FanDuel as well. I don't know. Are we going back to our boys here tonight?
I think so.
All right.
Like back-to-back on the road, there is data that shows that teams give up more goals on the back-to-back on the road. They travel too. They were in Colorado. They went to Minnesota. That's a different time zone. Time zone touting, sure. But like Colorado to Minnesota, as Jake's been doing every Tuesday, it's not a very, very short trip. It's a couple hour flight. You know what I mean? Canucks are a bad team, and they got up and beat the Avs last night. This could be a pretty decent spot for a letdown. Oh boy. Yeah. Our boy Bobby Boom said Victor Arvidsson just got activated off the IR. So, oh boy. We'll get to that game soon, Bobby. Turn down the power and the Tesla. We'll get there. But yeah, like, I don't know. It seems like they really played hard last night. They won the game. This could be like, oh, we beat the Avs. Let's just chill out here. Now that's just all conjecture and probably all crap, if we're being honest. But like the checking line of Joe Eriksson, Greenlight, Foligno gonna, clamp down on Miller, Garland, Pearson. That frees up Hartman, Zuccarello for second and third line matchups. Now that Vancouver second line seems pretty good. If they get some of that third line though, like Richardson, Lemico, Highmore, it's not a very good line. Minnesota also fully correlated. Their offensive numbers have picked back up. They're coming in at 5-6%. I think that's fine. I'm in on Minnesota 1. You want to go to Minnesota 2? I guess that's all right. They're going to see similar matchups. I just, I don't know. I've kind of been off that train for a little bit, and they're kind of overpriced in my opinion. So I would much rather just go to the top line. I wish Joe Eriksson was on the power play, because when he's at home, he plays, more minutes, 18, 19 minutes, but no power play time. Losing the power play time to Goligoski looks awful on a resume, but it is what it is. So Minnesota 1 for me. Maybe some Vancouver 2. You can go back, but like, I don't know, it just feels a little chasey to stack a team back-to-back on the road on a 10-game slate.
Yeah. I'm probably not going to be in on Vancouver here tonight. The Minnesota penalty kill is fine. Like you said, it's a back-to-back for them on the road. There are a lot, it's a 10-game slate. There are 20 teams to pick from tonight. There's not much ownership coming in on Vancouver. So if you want to get there, I think that's fine. But like Minnesota's really clamped down defensively over the last month. That was a problem for them. Like basically coming out of Christmas is they started to slide defensively a fair bit. They've really clamped things down. We were talking about how the Jordan Staal line for Carolina has been excellent defensively, giving up 19 scoring chances per 60 minutes. Minnesota third line, their checking line is giving up 9, not 19, 9 scoring chances per 60 minutes over their last 100 minutes together so far in the month of March. So yeah, that completely takes the JT Miller line out for me. And then you get to the Horvat, Elias Pettersson duo. They've been generating a lot offensively, but they've also been giving up a lot defensively. And I think that Minnesota top line or the second line will get the run of the play over them. I do like Minnesota 1 as you do here tonight. The month of March has just been outstanding for them. 32 scoring chances generated per 60 minutes, only 17 against per 60 minutes, 65% of the scoring chance share. You give me Minnesota 1 at home against a back-to-back Vancouver team with good leverage, I'm going to be in on them. So I do like Minnesota 1. If you want to drop down to Minnesota 2, I don't really have a problem with that. It's that the Vancouver penalty kill isn't very good. That's kind of the issue here. Like they're bottom 5 by expected goals against over the last 6 weeks. They're near the bottom 10 in actual goals against. And the Minnesota top line is fully correlated on the top power play unit. That does get the lion's share. So if you want to use Minnesota 2 as a little bit of a fillery type line, I think that's fine. But I like Minnesota 1 best in this game. On the blue line, Tyler Myers, I think he's in line for a block bonus here tonight on DraftKings, 3,300. Don't mind him on the Vancouver side. On the Wild side, I think it's just correlating with Spurgeon. Maybe if you want to go to Jacob Middleton, he's not that expensive, but I kind of prefer Spurgeon. What do you think?
Yeah, I honestly just think it's probably just going to be Spurgeon for me. Middleton at 3,600 is fine. I just, I like to play him when he's 27, 2,800, not in the mid to high threes.
Yeah, and it's not really a great shot blocking spot for him either, where he is a shot blocking guy. All right, let's get to our next game. Ottawa, 2.5 implied goal total. They're going into Winnipeg. The Winnipeg Jets have a 3.5 implied goal total. All right, Josh, it's flowchart season. We talk about it all the time. You play Winnipeg when they're in a tough matchup. You fade them when they're in an easy matchup. This is a pretty good matchup for them, especially when you consider that Thomas Chabot will still be out of the lineup. Ottawa has a very bad penalty kill. Winnipeg's not overly expensive, but the top line is coming in with a lot of ownership. What do you think?
Yeah, so I was minding my own business this morning, getting ready for the show. Top stacks get updated. I'm like, let me check. Number one in top 2 percentage, the flowchart boys. What? Now they're getting, like 15% ownership. So they kind of fall into that like St. Louis 1 boat, where if you fade them and they go off, you are in trouble. Now that being said, like I'm going to try to find some reasons to fade them. Kachuk, Norris, White, since Colin White has moved up there, that line has been very good. Now, that's where the good stuff ends, because after that, Chabot's out. Their penalty kill's bad. I mean, I guess Anton Forsberg has been pretty good, but their penalty kill isn't great. So, like, I think there is some merit to going to Winnipeg 1 here. Now, on FanDuel, Winnipeg 2 is the play because Kyle Connor, inexplicably, $3,600. He was 9,700 on FanDuel the last game. He's $3,600 tonight. So, yeah. Winnipeg 2 is going to be very chalk on FanDuel. So I think Winnipeg 1 on FanDuel is a nice pivot off the heavy chalk there, Winnipeg 2. Now on DraftKings, I think Winnipeg 2 is a nice pivot off the chalk on Winnipeg 1 because they're coming in around 3-4%. Now, Kyle Connor is expensive, but price isn't really a massive issue tonight. There are plenty of filler lines. Evgeny Svechnikov is 2,500. I think going back to Winnipeg 2 here is a good play. Like, they're going to get a better matchup than the top line. So I'd rather go to the lower ownership here and hope they do the lion's share of the scoring. It is what it is. Like, I like that top line. Don't get me wrong. If they're coming in with lower ownership, I'd be in on them. I just don't want to play that line at 15%, just like I probably won't play St. Louis 1 at 16%. I'm probably in on Winnipeg 2 here. If you want to play Winnipeg 1, that's fine. On the Senators side, I do like that top line, fully correlated. Winnipeg's penalty kill has gotten better. It's middle of the pack at best, which is a big upgrade for them. But that top power play, or that top line is fully correlated. They're still fairly cheap, coming in at 2%. So I think, I wouldn't prioritize them, but if they happen to fall into your MME mix, I think that is perfectly fine.
Yeah, I'm not going to go too much further on Ottawa 1. I agree with you. Like, White and Kachuk typically have played reasonably well together. I can't imagine Josh Norris would hurt. They're not expensive. They're coming in with reasonable ownership. The Winnipeg penalty kill, like you said, not really anything special. And, if you can throw in Eric Branstrom if you want to get some additional power play exposure and make the entire stack cheaper per player. So I'm not going to X out Ottawa from my pool, but I'm not targeting them either. That's kind of where I am with them is, if Fantasy Cruncher gives it to me, then I'll play them, but I'm not running out to play Ottawa in this matchup. The Winnipeg top line, like, it has, like, Scheifele and Ehlers typically do have good play driving numbers. Blake Wheeler can throw a little wrench into things, but
little wrench.
As far as Winnipeg 2 goes, one thing I noticed is their numbers have kind of slid of late. They're still generating a lot, but they're giving up a lot defensively as well. And that kind of worries me. You know, if Ottawa comes in ready for this game and really wants to play, maybe they can pin them down. And but I think they're fine to stack here. Like, I agree with you that if you want to get away from that super chalk Winnipeg top line, just drop down to that second line, Connor Dubois and Svechnikov. You know, you don't have to play Svechnikov if you don't want to. I mean, you can even turn it into a power play stack. Like we said, the the Ottawa penalty kill is not very good. Bottom 6 by expected goals against over their last 6 weeks. And they're, you know, in the bottom 10 for most times shorthanded. So, you know, giving up a lot of power plays to this Winnipeg team could be a problem. So if you want to get a bit different power play stack, I think that's fine. But Winnipeg 2, maybe some Ottawa 1 here in this game. On the blue line, Eric Brandstrom, he's probably going to play a ton of minutes again for Ottawa. He's still pretty cheap, but he is reliant on points. I think that's kind of the thing here, points and shooting. Nick Holden maybe for some blocks on the Ottawa side. Winnipeg, it's still just correlating with Morrissey or nothing else. What do you think?
Travis Hamonic playing at min price? He might, right?
He hasn't had a practice with the team yet. So, you know, whether he plays without a practice or not, we'll see. He could play tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I still prefer the pair of Holden Zaitsev for some block shots. They're not much more expensive than Travis Hamonic on the third pair. I guess Morrissey's fine. Like, he gets the minutes. He's just not a great fantasy player for hockey, or you know what I'm saying. Neil Pionk at 3,500, I think is fine as well. And again, if you want to punt, Brendan Dillon.
No problems there. All right, let's get to our next game. We have the San Jose Sharks going into Edmonton. San Jose has a 2.4 implied goal total. Edmonton has a 3.7 implied goal total. Now, both teams have changed up their lines. The San Jose top line is as expected. Timo Meier got dinged up in their last game, but he's going to play with Hurdle and Barabanov. But Couture is on the second line with Noah Gregor and Sasha Chmelevski. Not sure how that's going to go. Edmonton has also welcomed back a lot of players to their lineup. Ryan McLeod got moved to the second line for Edmonton, playing with Leon Draisaitl and Zach Hyman, and that's because they traded for Derek Brassard, and both Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Jesse Puljujärvi are back tonight. So the third line for Edmonton, Brassard, Nugent-Hopkins, Puljujärvi. Honestly, I think that, you know, and they did run a power play practice, and both Puljujärvi and Nugent-Hopkins were on the top power play for Edmonton. I think the Oilers have 3 playable lines here. The problem is one line is Connor McDavid, and the other line has Leon Draisaitl. How do you play Edmonton without playing one of them? It's a really good spot, though. The Sharks are a very bad team. What do you think here?
And there was like $1 billion yacht parked on Narrative Street for Evander Kane tonight, and then they just yeeted him off the top power play unit. It's still a really good spot for him. Like, he's gonna, I don't know. What do you think the betting line is on him getting a game misconduct at some point?
Pretty high.
It's got to be like close to even money. But like, I don't know. He's gonna still see power play time with McDavid and Draisaitl. They just, you know, they play the whole 2 minutes. I think what, like, Yamamoto's been so good with Connor McDavid too. I think you just go full Edmonton 1 here, or you go like McDavid, Nugent Hopkins, Puljujärvi, or, you know, just full on power play stack. I think you just, you know, McDavid and or Draisaitl and build around them. But I think, you know, going full Edmonton 1 here is going to get you on a unique path for Edmonton, because I think people are going to look to jam in power play spots. Like, yeah, Jacob Middleton was probably one of their better PKers, but their penalty kill is still pretty good. It is Capo Kakinen in that, though, and I just am not a believer in him. So, like, I am in on Edmonton 1, Edmonton power play. I think the power play spot's fine. On the Sharks side, Timo Meier's playing. Like, there was question marks about him. Like, he hurt his knee, but I guess he's fine. So I think that top line is fine, especially Meier, Hurdle. They are coming in with a lot more ownership than I wanted them to have, so I'm probably out for that reason. I think going like Meyer, Hurdle, Carlson is perfectly fine here, but that's really about it on the Sharks.
Yeah, one of our shows recently, we talked about how Hurdle, Meyer Couture, like they haven't really been good of late. And I looked up how this San Jose one line has played basically since February 1st. So since around the All-Star game, not very good. 51% of the shot share, only 47% of the scoring chances. They're getting outscoring chance. And this line was a line that was just throttling teams through the first, 30 games of the season or whatever. So like, I'm pretty sure it's Mike Smith starting tonight for Edmonton. So I don't really have a problem using that San Jose top line. But like you said, we have them at 10% on DraftKings here tonight. I think that's way too high for what's not a very good team on the road on a 10-game slate. And let's face it, like Edmonton has been better defensively. The problems have been in net. So as long as, Mike Smith isn't flopping around like a fish out of water, I think, they should be fine here tonight. So I'm out on San Jose. As far as Edmonton is concerned, I agree with you on the top line. I am perfectly fine just stacking that top line here tonight. You're going to get, you're going to get broken lines whether you're playing McDavid or Draisaitl. If you're playing either of those guys, there's nothing you can do about it because that's the way they've set up their power play, right? And, Jacob Middleton does make a difference on the penalty kill, but it just brings them to about league average. He is very good, but without him, they're still about league average, which isn't awful. So I think I would just go ahead and just stack the even strength lines. I'm with you. Whether it's Edmonton 1, whether it's Edmonton 2, like I said, I think Edmonton 3 is even in play here tonight as a two-man filler or something like that. So it is Edmonton 1 that I do like the most in this game. Nothing for me from the San Jose side. On the blue line, oh man, I don't know. I don't think I'm playing Tyson Barrie at 4,600. I'm not focusing on the power play matchup here. Darnell Nurse down to, sitting around 5,700. We've seen him in the 6Ks at times. I think he's fine as a one-off here tonight. On the San Jose side, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm not playing Burns. I'm not playing Carlson. I don't know who else would even be worth playing. So nothing for me from San Jose.
Yeah. Nothing really for me on San Jose outside of correlating with Sharks 1. I think Duncan Keith at 2,700 is fine. You want to go to Cody Ceci at 2,900, that's fine. I think Brett Kulak is making his Edmonton debut at min price. I'd rather play Ceci and Keith. I think if you can get to Nurse, he would be the guy for me, though.
Mike, can we clip Josh saying I'd prefer Ceci and Keith, please? Because at some point this season, I don't know if we've ever recommended Duncan Keith and Cody Ceci.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Coming into the season, you're like, that's going to be the worst pair in NHL history. They've actually been okay.
Yeah, I know. Like Keith looks worse than his numbers are when you watch him play because he
also looks worse than he looks.
But yeah, I agree. I'm just making fun. I agree with you. At their prices, it's perfectly acceptable. It's just. If I could show myself you saying that 6 months ago, I probably would have quit. It's just insane what Edmonton is doing. Here at Awesemo, we have an Awesemo Hall of Fame where we like to celebrate subscriber success. And if you want to get into the Awesemo Hall of Fame, this is how you do it. You download the Awesemo avatar from awesemo.com/avatar. You tweet those wins into the Awesemo Hoff account on Twitter. That's Awesemo HOF. You make sure those contests have at least 5,000 contestants. You do all that, and you get a chance to win a free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. Chad Maschke, lead 121,503, playing in the Minimax over on NBA, taking down third place for $300. Nice hit by him. And of course, you see our Kelly Canuck. I saw your joke yesterday about him asking you to fix the articles. I laughed at that. Kelly Canuck finishing first in college basketball over the weekend for a $1,000 hit. Nick Lepre here at Awesemo finishing third in UFC last weekend for a nice $250 hit. Scott Boney had a real nice night in NBA. I believe it was on Sunday, taking down 12,500 off $55 in entry fees. Lots of first place finishes in single entry and 3 maxes and things like that. So congrats to him. And Brendan from Buffalo, 4-leg parlay, for a real nice hit for him over in college basketball. Lots of college basketball still to come. Lots of sports. Great time of year for sports right now. So congrats to all the winners. Make sure you get in the Awesemo Hall of Fame if you do hit a contest with at least 5,000 contestants. All right, Josh, let's get to this next game. Nashville, 2.9 implied goal total. They're going into Vegas. Vegas has a 3.1 implied goal total. This could be a bit festival. This could be a bit of a nightmare because Vegas was supposed to trade Evgeny Dadonov. That trade got nixed by the league. He's going to be back in the lineup tonight, but we don't know where. Max Pacioretty was at morning skate today, and Pete DeBoer said he was a game time decision. The problem with all this is that despite it being a 10-game slate, there are only 2 late games. It's this one and then Chicago and LA after it. So if you stack with Max Pacioretty and he's not playing, there really aren't a ton of options that you can go to. You could do like an Eichel Pacioretty Carlson stack or something like that, hoping William Karlsson plays up there, but we don't even know if William Karlsson's going to be on the top line either. And then, if Pacioretty's out, you can just swap down to Marchessault. I think you can do Eichel, Pacioretty, Marchessault. And if Pacioretty's not in, it's a pretty clean swap over to Los Angeles 1. Like, I think there are ways around it. Just beware that if you're planning on Max Pacioretty playing tonight, he might not be. So a little bit of a festival here, Josh. What do you think?
So William Karlsson's on that line. We had them projected at 13%. Now, Pacioretty uncertainty definitely going to lower them because we just don't know. So what I think I'm going to do if I'm going to play Vegas 1, I'm putting in Eichel and Marchessault, and then I'm doing one of 2 things. I'm putting Pacioretty in utility and playing like a min price D in the later game like Troy Stetcher. Or I'm playing Eichel Marchessault. I'm putting like Alex Pietrangelo in the utility. And if, Pacioretty's in, I swap Pietrangelo to Marchessault or to Pacioretty. If he's out, I either leave Pietrangelo in or I like late swap to Victor Arvidsson or like Anze Kopitar or something like that, or DeBrincat or something like that. So I think there is ways to, make sure you're not going to mess yourself. Just make sure your latest, most expensive player is in the utility. So otherwise, you're going to handcuff yourself. Now, we just don't like Pacioretty is obviously hurt. He was out. Is he 100%? No. Like, that's obviously just a guess. But they've been absolutely getting run over recently. They've fallen out of a playoff spot. I think they're making Pacioretty suck it up. Like, dude, like we need to make it here. We traded for Eichel. We have, like if Pacioretty's in, that second line could be Karlsson, Dadonov, and Janmark, which is super cheap. But like, okay, well, so let's assume Pacioretty's in. I do have interest in that top line. They're going to be fully correlated on the power play, going up against a bad penalty kill on a team that takes a lot of penalties. So I'm probably in on Vegas 1. I think regardless of Pacioretty's injury status, Evgeny Dadonov will probably still be on power play 1, even though they, tried to put him up for adoption and those papers got canceled. So I think him at 2,600 is a nice one-off. On the Predators side, I'm in on Predators 1. They're getting no ownership. Their minutes are a bit of concern for the price, but like they've just been absolutely going nuts lately, scoring-wise, 5-on-5 and on the power play. So I think you can do that. It is Logan Thomas starting tonight, not Brossois. The problem, 9,200 Yossi. That honestly is the highest price for a defenseman I've ever seen. I've been playing DFS since the Draft Street days. This is the highest I've ever seen in defenseman. That's going to be a question, but we'll get to that. Nat, I like both top lines in this game.
Yeah. If you decide to stack with Pacioretty, like it's going to be very low owned. And that was kind of my concern with Vegas initially. They're coming in at 14% by our top stacks tool. And, we don't like speculating on injuries here because it can really cloud how you view a player. But there has been a lot to like talk about Eichel's wrist and whether he's actually whether his wrist is up to what he needs to be a top tier performer. Now he's taking a lot of shots, but just because you're taking a lot of shots doesn't mean you're the same shooter that you were 2 months ago or a month ago or whatever that is. So that's kind of what's bothering me here, is that we don't know that lineup, and you could get kind of boned on the line what the lines are going to be. So I think I would just build Eichel, Marchessault, Pacioretty. I think that's just the way I would go about it, and then make sure obviously one of them is in the utility, and then if you have to swap out Pacioretty for Pietrangelo or Marchessault for Theodore, and put a defenseman in the utility or something like that. I think that's kind of the way I would approach this. I wouldn't even bother stacking with William Karlsson. That just feels like asking for a lot of problems.
Yep.
So if you're going to stack Vegas one, Eichel, Marchessault, Pacioretty is how I would do it. And then you just have to react to the news at 9:30 Eastern when warmups hit. On the Nashville side, I'm not as gung-ho on Nashville one here. The Vegas penalty kill, like, it's fine. The problem would be in net. Like, they've lost both their goalies. Robin Leonard's out and Laurent Brossoit, he's also out. So they're down to Logan Thompson. So I guess like it would be fine in that sense. But as far as, stacking an $18,500 line on the road here tonight, like, I don't see why you wouldn't just go to like Florida one, a little, obviously they're coming in with a little bit higher ownership, or a lot higher ownership, but considerably better top stacks. And like, I think I would almost rather play Yossi than the Nashville top line. So that's it for me. Just Vegas one. On the blue line, probably just, I don't mind some cheap Nashville guys here, like Carrier, Ekholm. I think they're fine as, block shot bonus and all that. Probably nothing for me from the Vegas side. What do you think?
Yeah, it's that interesting question, like, how do you build? So like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure on the Vegas side. Yossi's the question mark. Like, if you get him into your lineup, I think that's fine. I just wouldn't force him in.
Yeah, I agree with that. Coming up after us, Locks Before Lock at 5 p.m. Eastern with Eric and Savoca, and then your NBA double dose of the deeper dive and Live Before Lock right after that. All right, Josh, let's get through this last game real quick. Chicago 2.6 implied goal total going into Los Angeles. Kings have a 3.4 implied goal total. Chicago played last night, so they're on a road back-to-back, and it's also probably going to be Colin Delia starting. I'm not so sure Delia is worse than Lankinen, so like, I'm not running out to play Los Angeles here just because of the goaltending, but I am running out to play Los Angeles because, as you said earlier, Victor Arvidsson going to be back. He's probably going to slot on that second line with Trevor Moore and Philip Deneau. I imagine he goes back to the top power play unit as well, takes Deneau's spot there. So we have Los Angeles too with a lot of ownership, but maybe that drops down now that Arvidsson's back, because Arvidsson is quite a bit more expensive than Arthur Kaliev. What do you think?
Yeah, and they've been setting out Deneau against top comp, so they're going to get the Strome Kane to Brinkat line. That line is underwater now. Kane's metrics kind of skew that a little bit, but Deneau, Moore, and Arvidsson's numbers aren't skewed, and they just are electric. Arvidsson's expensive, so I would imagine he's going to be pretty low tonight. So yeah, I'm fine with Kings 2 here. I'm going to go to Kings 1. Like, there's a 3-game sample, very small sample on Kubalik, Taze, and Taylor Radish. Unsurprisingly, they're underwater in those 3 games. So I think going to Kings 1, also fine. The Chicago penalty kill, not great. So yeah, Kings 1 makes some sense. I think Kings 2, assuming ownership's okay, would be my preferred destination on the Kings. On the Blackhawks side, maybe some Hawks top line in MME, but I'm not running out to play them.
Yeah, I'm not running out to play the Hawks either. All right, we got to get out of here, Josh. I'm going to ask you for your hat trick picks and your goalies. My hat trick pick for tonight is my client, Brock Nelson. And my goalies are Andre Vasilevsky, UC Saros, Alex Nedeljkovic. I had Jake Ottinger, but he's not starting anymore, so I'll leave it with Philip Forsberg. Or not Philip Forsberg, Anton Forsberg. Who you got?
For goalies, I have Vasilevsky, Freddie at 7,400. you want to punt, I think Forsberg at 6,800 is fine. If you want to pay up, Sorokin. And my hat trick pick for Mike, Claude Giroux.
Aw, I like that. Claude Giroux, Brock Nelson.
He's not allowed to speak on our show because he's a Flyers fan. Flyers fans not allowed to speak, but I'll throw him a bone with Claude Giroux.
Josh, good guy Josh over there being nice to Mike the producer. All right, Brock Nelson, Claude Giroux, your hat trick picks. We are out of here. We will be back with a show tomorrow. Until then, for producer Mike, for Josh, a single entry assassin, I'm Michael Clifford saying good luck tonight, everybody.